Scott, everything's ready when you are.
Welcome to the November 2024 Village of Fayetteville Planning Board meeting. A few things on the agenda, but a lot of documents. Jump right in. Neil,
So the first,
tell us what you're doing.
So I'm not doing anything yet.
Okay.
You guys don't get that, so I can get
Okay,
started.
we'd love to hear what you're planning.
So my plan is to start like a community center kind of like where everybody can come and have some good advice. I'm going to have one room for skincare, sell some skincare and health products. And then one room I'm going to have people come and do laughter yoga with me. I'm a certified laughter yoga instructor. You guys can come down paid.
I heard yoga, but what was the word?
Laughter yoga.
Laughter
And
yoga.
you just laugh.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I like this, I like this.
And then one room I'm going to have clothing and jewelry that the previous owners had. So it will be a multi-use space.
This is in the space that's. Carlton.
And for was what?
What?
Yes, then moved out.
so it's listed as a, you put it in as a retail space, but you're also now offering personal service with the yoga.
But yes, that is the service.
Okay, that has its own set of questions you guys might want to ask. This is the special use permit for Neelam.
Yeah, I didn't pull this stuff out, it was like, yeah, this is if it was a totally different document.
Okay, I can get another copy for you. Like you looked at all this, right?
Any work being done on the inside?
Again,
Is anything planned?
just the paint. The office space and kitchenette area is a little bit of adjustments. I don't plan to do major thing. Not in this location, but in other location, next one.
You buying the building?
Yes, I am.
Have you already bought the building?
Yes, it has not closed yet, but well, this month closing.
And what? So are the tenants gonna remain above? And
No, they're moved out.
everybody's moved out of the building?
Yes. But the upstairs would still be an apartment,
Okay. Just one?
just one apartment. So the special use.
Yeah. In this district, special permits required if you want to do retail and or personal services, so that's when it's required.
I was gonna say, if we all get special.
They all have to do.
So you need a special permit.
Mhm.
Well.
For this zone, for this, the zoning for this property.
This is a residential slash business district. So it's got some extra layers of repeated.
How many customers do you anticipate? Like, maybe one at a time, two at a time. Yes. What's wrong?
We have a case in, are you related to a case that's in Syracuse Boy?
Um, I own Command Center lot, the kids can be. So maybe your kids came to you.
No, I don't want like just, it's,
So why don't you ask?
do you have a case that's currently pending? No, okay.
It's my first time here.
No, in Syracuse City.
Sir, you see people, have a lot of tenants.
Well, it's a question of whether or not I should be, whether I should stay in, because the name's on some. But I can trust it's the same.
You live in Duane now?
Yes,
How long have you been there?
almost 20 years.
No, I just, there's a case that's kind of. Yeah. I don't think it's gonna affect anything.
So. Karen, public hearing.
Um. Yeah, if you don't have any other questions, have an understanding of what she's proposing, and you're comfortable with the application moving forward, the next step for a special use is to set a public hearing at the next meeting. And then,
Schedule that.
I don't think it requires a motion. It's just part of the process for permitting. So if,
Good for you. I hear
Yeah.
the decree, public hearing at the next.
so if you don't have any other questions, and she planned to be at the next meeting, not only for the public hearing, but hopefully for signage. She does plan to have signs there, but she's still working out the details. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
She has mentioned it, but the sign, I don't know if you want to have any conversation with them about signage and to get their thoughts or ideas.
I have ideas, but we don't have anything done yet.
Okay, so we can save that. So, yeah, so it's,
Let's schedule. Essentially, anything else you need from us? Schedule that.
no, as long as you've gotten all your questions answered and you're moving it forward, you could just indicate that the next step will be December 2nd, I believe is the. So.
Hereby decreed.
So the,
See you then.
Some seconds, what if I'm not here? Do I have to be here or can?
somebody should be here to represent it.
I'm trying
Yeah.
to hear.
I don't, at that point, it's just putting it out there, it gets published, for the public hearing, so everyone has an opportunity to make comment. And, we'll go from there, so they pretty much advance. There's the potential. So that's why it's always helpful to have someone here, because you never know if something will come up, a question that hadn't been thought of yet, or a comment that you may want to be aware of.
We could push that to January.
No. I'm not-
Yeah, that's true, you could.
Before Christmas.
Okay.
So, all right. So, yeah, so if one or both of you can be there, just, all right,
This, yes.
same place,
They've done.
correct. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please, you to do.
All right, so you're ready for the next case for Encore?
Hi, I'm Barbara Varnell. I'm president of the Syracuse Sounds of Music Association, which is the overseer of the Encore Shop. That's our major fundraiser. And unfortunately, we were in 119 Brooklyn, because the building was sold, we had to find a new space. So we are in the back of the Fred Astaire building at 118 Mill Street. So, and there was I have to say that the Encore Shop, we've been in that building for like 15 years. We hated to move, but we understand that. But there is a site plan as far as our layout for inside the building, and the all the profits that we give, or all the money that we bring, it goes back to music organizations in the community. And people love us, they love what we do, they're so thrilled that that we do give back to the community. It's all run by volunteers. I'm president of the Syracuse Sounds Music Association, so that's why I'm here representing. But everybody loves us. So we just want to continue in this spot.
And you're already in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there someone else at that spot or?
There was it was a woman that was with the dance studio. She sold like gowns and that kind of stuff, and she just doesn't need that space anymore. So there was a retail space in there. The retail person was in there before. So
She was already within the space as.
yes. Yes. I believe that space was built out for her. There are other spaces in that back part of the Astaire building, which he is looking to rent out some of those. And yes, yeah. I'm sorry. Oh, in here I can show you around. This is basically, this is a cash. So you come in here, this is our cash drawer. These are like rolling racks with clothing on it. And then we have shelving that goes around the sides here. There are more, I think there are 2 more racks inside now. This is our room and back, which we're using for, just basically marking and storage and so forth. There's a merchandise here and in this little area, and then this is a dressing room that's here. So it's basically shelving on the walls that goes around, and then the interior is open.
Everything that you have in there, is it donated?
Everything is donated. Everything that we have is donated. And we give away, last year we gave away $25,000 to the Syracuse Orchestra. And we gave around $60,000 to different musical organizations in the community. So it's all run by volunteers.
More space.
Not really. No, we looked around for a lot of different places, and just rents are really, really high, and just to find a space that was close by from where we were, it was pretty difficult to find space, so. No, I have to say, I don't think there's not really any more space than we have. We would have liked it more space. Pardon me?
It's all wide open.
It's wide open. It's laid out different. And where we were, it was different rooms that were set up. So it looks a lot smaller, but it's not really that much smaller because it is all open.
The cut hours are 11 to 4.
Correct.
That, do you ever anticipate that expanding?
I don't think so, because it's all volunteers. So you need volunteers to come in. So it's really hard to get people that are gonna want to do more time. I don't foresee that changing. The thing I would say, maybe on Saturday, we might, close in the winter time or whatever. It really depends on the volunteers we have that want to come in and man the shop, basically. So it won't increase,
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, we have a drawing of the
Signage?
proposed signage.
Right.
What is the height of, and I have no idea what it's called.
The clock.
The clef sign,
The clef.
the G clef sign, which I consider graphic, not letters, but that would be 18 inches. The Encore name would be 12 inches. And this would be 18. If we have used that, we did include a business card. You have a copy of the business card.
Yeah.
We've been using that for 15 years. So it's kind of like people know us.
Yeah.
That sign,
and-
and I do understand the limit for the letters, but, if you could consider that a graphic rather than a letter.
Well, whether it's a graphic or a logo,
Okay.
it's considered pretty much the same
Okay.
thing. You would
Yeah,
either,
I have.
So that's why there's a
application.
variance application.
I
must
do have
come.
an application in to come in 2 weeks for that.
Yeah.
There's a second sign. That's
Right, and I didn't know what, it was really, what to say, the code was a little confusing to know what we could do and couldn't do, but if we could, we would like to put a sign on the fence. I don't know if you know where the building is, but if you drive around the side of the building, there's a fence here. This sign could be, it's like 10 inches or 12 inches between the rails, so it would be a sign that would fit on one rail. And maybe be 12 inches high by, I forget what by 2 feet, 20, all right, 20 inches by 2 feet to put on that fence, and that would just be an arrow with a sign Encore pointing around, because we are around the back of the building, and it is a little bit difficult to, to find us, so.
You don't even see the signs. Yeah. In the front of the building.
Yeah, you wouldn't,
You
the only
have to
place,
drive around.
the only way people that would see the sign would be people that would be coming to us, because it's around the side of the building. It's not like on a main thoroughfare that you would see it. So it's just basically a directional sign, so they know to follow.
so is the actual entrance, is that?
The
I'm
entrance
sorry, I didn't
is,
get a chance to go
okay.
down there.
this is the end of the building. At the very end, back here, there's a parking lot. So there's another, if you go over here, there's another doorway that goes into the building, so we are the last door.
So is that the Mill Street side or the Creek?
Mill Street
Creek side.
is, it's really the
Creek
creek
side.
side, it's not really on a street.
Mhm.
It's not on the street, but, this is a door we would
You
go
don't
in.
see it at all.
No, you really
see
don't,
the
because it's
front
around.
Stairs studio.
And
And
you
you
have
have
to
sign
drive
on
around.
Mill Street.
Yeah.
So you
Okay,
can see like
if here- Yeah, here's the mill, Fred Astaire building. If you drive around the side, we're down the side,
Mhm.
so it's on, along the creek,
I
so
got
it's really not on the. it's not
Barbara,
really
did
on
you
the
have
street.
any conversation with the property owner about putting any signage on the front of the building?
On here?
Yeah.
I really didn't talk to him. He's really agreeable. He said whatever,
Okay.
he said he's agreeable to put whatever he would like.
I
on
think
it.
that's
mean,
what
if
they're
we could put-
wondering.
It's because people were not familiar with it. So we're gonna have a hard time.
I'm sorry?
If the people were not familiar with Encore,
Uh-huh.
they would have a hard time knowing that you have to drive around the building.
Right.
Like, they would have a hard time knowing it was there.
Right, and what we're telling people, and in like the emails we sent out, we say back of the Fred Astaire building.
So they can find the Fred Astaire.
Right.
They, right, don't have to drive.
Right. And the signage, I think there were 2 versions for the sign. One was over the door, but now I'm questioning whether that would be the place, or the other, and I don't have a picture, I apologize, but I had sent another picture with the signs a little bit to the right of the door, because if there are other people that are gonna be going in there, we don't wanna be the only, you know. Yes, that's it. So it signified we had that, the latter part of the building. We would like to put, we were wondering, and I'm not sure if it's permitted to put a perpendicular sign that would go off the building, so when people came around the corner, they could see an Encore sign that came out, but from what my understanding is, it has to be attached to the building, so that's not allowed, correct?
Like a blade sign?
Yeah, it would be a sign that would be perpendicular off the building.
It would need a variance, which is what we talked about.
You do? I mean, that would be our first choice is to have a perpendicular sign, because then when people come around the corner, they would see
Right away.
Right,
And they don't think we're going back.
right, right.
Who knows
Do you
what.
think that helps, say, eliminate, mitigate the need possibly for the fence sign?
Yes, I would say,
Sign?
I think you need one on the front of the
So
building
it's
and
by
one directory.
Agree.
Like if they had more than one tenant, it could be a directory.
I could check, I have to say, I did not really check with the owner and ask about.
She's,
I did not check with the owner to ask about if we put a sign like on the side of the building with an arrow or whatever. I can check with him. Before the next meeting to see, he's pretty agreeable as far as what, he said, whatever I can help you with or whatever you can do.
I feel better about a more creative solutions and sticking with it. I recognize.
sign?
the-
Right, no, that was not ideal, but it was directional. I mean, ideally, would be great to have a sign here that would point with an arrow
Yeah.
back, and if we could do a perpendicular sign that came off, then when people came around the corner,
See it.
they would see.
How many storefronts are back there with signs?
They're really,
There's no other. one.
before you come to our space, so here's another, it comes along here, there's another doorway. It would be right about here, and that is, windows like this. There's really no like storefront area, it's just basically doorways.
There's another door to the dance studio.
The dance studio door is in the front.
Oh, the one on the side doesn't go there also?
No, it does not go to the dance studio. That goes to all rental spaces that he wants to rent out the spaces there. But no, the dance studio is through the front.
I mean, my opinion is that your signage focus should be more on the Mill Street and front of the building area. And whatever secondary signage you put above your doorway. It's not like you're an impulse business that somebody is gonna be like, oh, the Encore shop, I know what that is. I'm gonna pop in there. They're looking for you.
Right, they are. They bring donations and they shop when they're there. We have a great clientele. We had a great clientele. And
So you need to get them
right,
there, so you need that signage out front. And you've devoted your quote unquote big sign to above a doorway, which is on a side of a
okay,
building, maybe nobody will ever see.
that could be. That really could be.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was a little confused, I have to say, by the code, reading through the codes to know what we really could do. So any suggestion you would have would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, I
because we
think
did-
some of the things that we've talked about,
Yeah.
either more of a monument sign up in front of the building.
Okay.
Or an additional larger sign on the facade of the building, or as they have suggested, my fellow board members.
no area to put a monument sign. So you're just,
Or
when you say monument, you're thinking freestanding.
freestanding.
I don't think the lot is conducive to that. There's no area to put it there. It's all parking in the front. But it sounds like what you're suggesting is the allotment for signage. The total dimensions that you're allowed, more of it should be present on the front of the building than on the side.
Here,
Yes.
on the front of this, like on the side here, on the,
So there should be a
So I'm not-
bigger sign on front and a smaller one on the side to identify the doorway.
Yeah,
Because the address.
I mean, we still have to have
Yeah.
something, we'd still have to have something by this doorway because there are two doorways, so for them to know where it is and. But that's why you could do a perpendicular sign that came off the building.
Mhm.
And that could be,
At that
that could
corner.
be small.
If
Yeah,
there's,
that could
if
be-
there's
that could-
clearance for vehicles that go back there, I don't know what
There's,
what it's used for.
In the back,
it does.
it's just parking. It's basically, we are the end of the
It
building.
does get there's
two cars. Yeah, two cars could get through here. Okay, there's passageway for two cars, so one going in and one coming out. And then back here, there's probably, I wanna say maybe 100 feet of parking in the back, right, that goes back along the creek.
But in that front, there's a lot of.
In the front, there's a lot of room. It's kind of a distance to walk from parking in the front to parking back here. The other, so, I don't know, people may park there and walk back. I don't know.
It's a lot to change in this funding versus.
I really appreciate your input because we kind of really.
No. But hope
We're all
they,
volunteers.
give them a moment, maybe they'll hear your question.
Don't quite know what to do with this. so.
Situations.
Do you have any question on the content? Or the dimensions that are put in question?
We understand that
I guess it's
they showed up for the clubs, like saying that.
The G club.
Yep, so you're,
This is a G club in music.
so it's just trying to understand the location. There, there's a gentleman that has a question, even though it's not a public hearing. I don't know what your question is. If you could identify yourself.
Bill Camperlino, I own the property next door. And, eventually that will be residential. So,
The property, so I'm not sure which property you mean.
right behind the dance studio.
Up on Mill Street, up
Oh,
on top.
Up above, and I own the apartment.
Oh, in front or in
No,
back?
I'm back.
Oh,
So
Oh.
I guess my only comment would be. I don't think people living there want to see a sign. So as long as the sign's out of sight, which I think what you're saying, if you put it on the creek side of the building.
yeah, it's on the
we're
creek
not-
side.
we're
Yeah,
not gonna
it's
see it.
definitely on the creek side of the building,
Yeah,
because
you won't see
you're up above here.
I'm up above.
Yeah, you're up above here,
So I'm-
on Mill Street, correct?
I've got 4 lots on Mill Street.
Okay,
And I own the back all the way to the creek.
from the back of this building?
From the back of my own,
Okay,
all the way to the creek. And part of the parking lot is paved on my property.
oh, okay, well, I was not aware of that,
I didn't think you were, that's why.
Yeah, no, no, that's okay, I didn't know that, from my understanding, Vlad owns this parking lot that went back
He owns some of
to
it,
it, yeah, oh, okay,
he owns some of
Okay.
it, and I own the rest of it.
oh,
And somebody went in there and cut all kinds of trees down last summer, and it's all
Yeah.
piled on my property.
oh, really? Oh,
Yes,
I
no
don't,
permission.
don't look at me.
They left a mess, so.
Oh, gee,
That's not you.
no, I don't know anything about that.
That's my 2 cents.
But I really do appreciate your feedback as far as what would be the best thing and what would be allowable that we could do. So I can come up with some new drawings if if we had some ideas, maybe some very different options.
Discussion with the landlord.
Pardon me, I will check with the landlord and he did sign the variance,
For
You know,
the,
for the-
the content, for the size, right.
right.
So
So I will
we
check.
might
Do I
have,
have to get another signature from him?
not at the moment, no.
Okay,
No.
because I could ask him, he was very agreeable, he even, I think he even mentioned maybe putting a sign at the front. I do have a question about, like, hours, if we can put our hours on the door that we're open. In the back, is there a permit needed for that?
No.
No.
Like,
It would just be.
the codes officers said no, that you can do that.
It would probably either hang in the window or, we might get the ones that stick to the door. It really depends. I think probably one that hangs would be better because if, there are other people that are in there. you know, there's no one else there now. The woman that was in our space does not really have, she's not open all the time, so she doesn't have open hours, so. But I didn't know if we needed a permit to put just our hours that were open.
Did you just say someone else is in the same space?
No, she was in our space,
Oh.
but she has a space that's next door, which is basically an office in her storeroom. She travels. She doesn't have the retail space open. She's traveling with the show. She goes where the Frontier people go. The different competitions and all that, because she sells the gowns. So, but it's like an office. She's there, so.
The company's name is Syracuse Sound and Music Thrift Shop. Is
It-
that what you're DBA?
Yes, the Encore Thrift Shop is a DBA, but it's Syracuse Sounds and Music Association Incorporated with DBA with Encore Thrift Shop.
So it's technically Syracuse Sounds and Music.
That's who the lease is under.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I also have another question, and and this has to be passed by the board, but we're thinking of possibly changing it to Encore Thrift Boutique. Would that change any of the, it would change the signage of boutique, but we have to get that passed by the board. You know, we've been talking about, we haven't, but I didn't know if that would have any relation. It would be, instead of Encore Thrift Shop, it would just say Encore Thrift Boutique. Because it's a little more of an upscale, place, and it sounds a little classier.
Would you need to know that by the next meeting?
Okay, we have a board meeting in November, so I would, actually, it's November 18th, our board meeting, so we would know then, so I could let you know. I'm not sure if the board will pass that. Some people are for it, some people are.
So we can
against
decide
it. They wanna
later.
Keep it the same, so we will vote on that. But, anyway, I do appreciate all your input. And
So are we gonna table the sign for now?
I think
Or do you
well,
make a recommendation on the content? Because they have to have a variance anyway for you to make any
yeah, this
decision.
is what we needed the variance for, the G clef. They have it bigger than the 12-inch letters.
So at this juncture, the sign would have to come back to you anyway for final approval. Because as it stands, they would need a variance in order
For
for
the
you to
G-Clef.
approve. In order for you to approve it. So, but do you want to make a recommendation to the zoning board about the sign design?
Or just.
For they're right now,
We don't know where it's gonna be or.
right, it's coming back to you for location. But it needs a variance for how it's drawn right now, for the logo. So can you make a recommendation?
Well, the thing, but you don't know if it's gonna be Encore this way, or is it gonna be Encore?
No, it
this
would be Encore. It would be
be
perpendicular to the building just as this is.
Okay.
Okay, and
Frustrating.
it would be basically being a black border around the
We're
side.
approve
and
this
having
floating
some kind
thing
of a
bigger than
bracket,
this.
Right.
Okay.
but some type of a bracket that would be then
So
attached
it
to
would
the
stick
building.
out like a flag.
Pardon me?
It would stick out like a flag.
Yeah, basically perpendicular away, so when people came around the corner, that's what we really would prefer to have.
Okay.
And since it's really not seen from, it's only seen from people that would be coming back to
Yes.
us.
Okay, yeah. So it would
You
need,
can't prove it.
It's a reference.
No, we would want it, because we want it by our doorway.
But the blade sign, the one that goes out.
Goes out, yeah, because there's no indication that here, if we put it here on the building, there's no indication where we are. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, because that building is probably 100 feet long. So there would be no indication if we put a sign that went out here,
yeah.
where they would go into our store. So that's why I'm thinking that the sign would go probably off of, like, to the right of the doorway, perpendicular out here. And that way, when people came around, they would see Encore Shop and they would know that's the door to go in.
Mhm.
I'm just afraid if we put it here on the building, nobody would know where to go.
So the sign on the corner, you would need an arrow.
The sign on the corner would be similar to what the sign on the fence would be.
right?
It would be something like this with an arrow that would be pointing.
So it sounds like the location is yet to be determined. She needs to
Right, I
verify
think
what
that
else
was
she
it.
can do. And that part of it can be tabled to the next meeting because we can't approve the sign permit as it stands anyway
No.
due to the logo. So
And would we consider an arrow as?
not typically,
An arrow now?
not typically. It's usually just a directional.
I'm going to make a motion to recommend strictly the logo. Size presented at 18 inches. CPA.
So it would just be this, it would be 18 inches. Yeah, this would be 12, this would be the 18.
Correct. Just
Just the G club.
the G. Yes, that word.
The G club.
So John seconded. John second the recommendation.
Second, all in favor?
None opposed? Okay. All right, so as far as the site plan,
I'll make a motion on the site plan to approve the site plan that's presented.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Okay, so next time I need to come back with kind of the different variables.
we'll have to
We'll
talk
talk.
more tomorrow, I think.
That's fine.
So, yeah, there's still another
Right.
meeting on the 18th.
But I just need to revise these,
We have a lot of work to do to get ready.
Thank you, Karen.
okay.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Barbara. So you're all set for tonight. So Mr. Campolito, the next meeting is a public hearing
Okay.
and on the 18th, as far as the variance. But there's more to come. All right, so there's one more case. It was a recommendation for 101 Pratt's Lane. Thank you. Actually, it'll be,
Member of the planning board, my name is Daniel Manning. I'm an architect and my firm is located in downtown Syracuse. I was retained by Linda Lee to renovate her proposed home that's located at 101 Pratt's Lane. She currently operates a salon on the south side of the building structure. And on the north side, there's a small two-story cape, 1,200 square feet that you would like to renovate and move into for her and her son. The property is an existing non-conforming property, so, and it's zoned RB, residential accessory. And there is a deck on the back that is within 1'10.5" of the west side property line. And then the building itself is 4'9" to the north side property line. So what we had proposed, again, the house is very small. She was looking to increase the size of the living area without affecting the footprint. So what we had proposed is to turn that existing covered porch and deck into an extension of her living room and kitchen space without affecting the footprint of the property. So we went and applied for a permit and received a denial so that we could process an application to the ZBA. But you have the proposal. I have a bigger set if anyone wants to look at a little bit bigger set. But I have a larger survey that has the dimension lines on it. The south side, again, the north side is 4'9", the south side. The south side is conforming, the east side is conforming, and the west side is 1'10.25". The requirement's 5 feet in all directions on the front, on the side, and the rear. So we're looking for a recommendation.
5 feet, 50? 50 feet or 5 feet? 50.
where,
50 rear.
50 feet.
50.
But the existing dimension is 4'9"
Mhm.
on the north side and 1'10.25" on this, on the west.
What's required is 50.
What's required for the slope?
This scale, is this setback line, is it shown here? This isn't the scale, sure.
Yeah, this is, we ended up, field measuring. If you wanna take a look at these two,
So where is the 50.7?
oh, I'm sorry, there, I only have the one.
Is that what's considered the picture, this property?
Yeah, 81.7, 81.17. Yeah. The house is in conformity.
For this area.
I mean, it's existing non-conforming property. It's probably been there since the fifties.
They're all like. So is the owner, is Linda the owner?
Linda's the owner, yeah. Well, close. It could have been this way.
When did we determine this is renovated? What year was?
The.
Mike,
inside-
when was the renovation done before? Did you go through the folder?
Recently, but the addition or the salon, we thought it was the eighties. There wasn't a record, but we tried to research back history of it. But we didn't come up with anything.
Scott, there was an existing deck there years ago. The current owner put a roof on it in 14. The covered porch, the covered porch.
Did they get a permit from you?
They got a
They did.
So the deck is currently there.
the deck originally,
Half of it
It's a
is,
porch.
the deck originally didn't get a permit.
no, you wouldn't be able to build a house there today.
What's front setback here?
I don't remember. What's the front setback?
30.
Alright, so 30.
That puts you right in the road.
You basically, you.
Oh,
A skinny little strip. So I mean, I'm at the basis. The setback is here, it's like similar to this right here. I just put that in there. I think there were 50 foot. You know, there's no way.
This is the.
Yeah,
Is
This
it-
is not
yeah.
the bank. Looks like somebody else owns this parcel. though.
if somebody does.
And this is stated. So
Drop right now.
it's a, this is the top.
At the bank, it drops down
From
pretty
here
good.
down, this is the top. So I wonder,
So.
Even that garage, yeah.
So this is saying.
The garage is actually in between.
Says it's on those.
Garage.
Is
Yeah.
the group says that those guys also.
So this is what we actually,
Is that also owns this line?
No, so even with that, that's fine.
so
Yes.
what are the ownerships of this, who owns this parcel now? Because it says Linda on the application, but.
The county.
Cedar Bay County.
They'll say Cedar Bay.
Is that right?
they haven't closed
Dave
yet.
Lawler,
In the Cedar Bay.
Dave Lawler.
They sold.
I don't know.
Was
Who's-
they were.
No, who's selling it?
he's buying it, I guess, closing Thursday, contingent, I don't know.
Okay.
And was utilized if you going to us, so I don't know if she's buying it.
Yes,
What they do actually, speaks, that's all it is. It's okay, so it's from this house.
so we tried, again, we tried to research the back history. Couldn't find out if the deck was done under permit or not. My inclination was that because this was recently renovated into a salon, that the deck or any of the non-conformities could have been an issue to require a building permit. Since they weren't, I told Linda that if we are gonna renovate the building, rent it for her home, the only chance we'd have of expanding is if we utilize the footprint of the deck in the porch without affecting the size of it. That's what it is.
What is that?
Facing west to the deck, from the deck and
All the
then,
access is totally different.
So that's this building.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where is that? This is cool. Whereas.
That's an existing door. This is the back, this is the west side. You're looking at the east side. So the east side will now look like this. The only thing we're doing is widening the roof structure, but not the depth of it.
Well, and
Here
the
now. So he must just make.
kind of closing the door.
Yeah, that doesn't affect the footprint. We're just making the bigger door, bigger side.
So they all back up to the.
So I guess. the dormers are getting-
Dormers are getting bigger, double windows.
Is there?
No, we're leaving the roof as is. In the front, in the back, we're tying it
Oh, I
into the
see.
deck. So it has a salt box. Oops.
Yes. Those pictures, it's part of the application.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they should be part of it.
Do you have an elevation of what it looks like from? Hey, what did we sign about?
Yeah, yeah, that's the one I was showing you that you were asking me about the door.
So that.
That door,
Sorry.
it's on the back. Yeah, it's off the garage. There's a door off the garage that accesses the backyard. And that would be the only one that we would keep.
Looking at that building in the wall.
It's that door is on the back. Yeah, we didn't draw that in the salon. We didn't draw that. The salon is, and it just extends from the.
Right.
That's,
It's all the same building.
this is part of our. Yes. Yeah, we can add that if you want, but it wasn't part of our.
How far is that salon thing? It's all the same building.
The salons are there.
Right. So if I'm looking at this here.
We don't have prison driveway. It's for those who time those being. Did he look
I'm
at?
looking at
No, these.
this. It's currently to the back. This is already
Yeah, no,
clearly within.
we don't have.
Okay, that's already.
But he's disconforming.
No, it shouldn't be. It's
It's probably in front.
The east,
We only
I
have,
mean, the south is conforming. The east one would not be.
we don't have.
That was this addition. The rear setback's not conforming either, but the most it would non-conform is this corner. That's what
Yeah,
we're
right
asking
now,
for,
that's.
for the variance.
You gotta go with the small ones, right?
Right. 1 foot 10 and a quarter.
Clear reading, 1 hour clear.
Is right now, it's gonna be considered very.
Look at your buildings there.
Because it's already there.
Yeah, whatever that is. We didn't measure, we measured that.
So you really, you know,
Okay.
the issue is, they have to, they should have got it.
I've never
Now
built
that's
that.
there.
So I
This is what's correcting it.
It's never crossed my ear.
Right.
But none of that is. Right now.
But none of it does affect the current footprint over.
I'm sure. Future.
Yeah, we've done. Like, so we can have a few-
That's integrity. I never dealt with.
Either porch in our house, I think, or-
I'm thinking, grievance, I don't understand.
No,
He's
I don't,
like down
no,
here,
but this
it's too
is just
steep.
a lot, the only reason.
So I like to brush.
There's no way to do house that way.
No,
It's
it's
not
a weird
reasonable
lot.
to say that's a big effect science from that point.
Yeah.
Unless there's a natural system, is always gonna keep it from, the only thing that concerns me, which is why I asked the question, who owns this land? Because if it was over here, I wouldn't have a problem, because you're always gonna have this one, this.
No. And there's no residential over there.
Putting the tax map is the same as it used to. So
It's on my map.
of one of these houses.
It's really not.
Is this person just going to public hearings? Because this is,
Demo.
I'll ask Linda to inquire.
yeah, find out if they still own it. And or did somebody buy it, but it doesn't show it, tax map, it shows it's like independent lot.
Yeah. Mike,
And it's land.
can I bug you for a moment? The property that is saying northwest of this.
It's Connors. Connors.
Connors.
It's, do you know what that is?
It goes all the way over.
You know much about that property?
It's behind 40.
Dave Lawler's place. Dave Lawler owns that house and the next house, 107 and 105.
You see Cedar Bank?
Yeah,
I'm looking for Lawler on this.
I'm sorry.
They don't have it.
Now you guys know.
It doesn't say Lawler, right?
No, it's a
No,
Cedar
Cedar
Bay.
But if you look up Cedar Bay, it's Cedar Bay is I just.
My,
But what do you, are you? looking
down
for
here,
Conrad?
it's got a different identification. This is what they're questioning apparently.
If you sold it since. So they only even spend as much of an issue because. it's not- Private individual is not gonna want this up against them.
Ask them, I think that's the name they just mentioned on the bottom. That's what they're questioning.
Just a little strip land. Oh, it's 75 foot lot inside of your house. So she should buy this piece and she'll be. She'd be okay. Really?
Yeah.
If we would sell her this piece right here, she would get.
Says, so.
What about the rest of them?
No, it goes way back.
All right, so are we gonna get, are we looking at getting the variances for all the evils?
I get the next floodplain.
Sure.
Buildings Association, I got a notification.
So the
They changed the
question is, why is the ZBA studio differently about this is, I
Floodplain.
mean, it does have a roof. You see a relocation.
They just wanna make things easier.
It's 1.5 stories, yeah, and the roof is on that, not this.
Right, and what is?
It's going to be 1 story, but the roof will continue up and hit the peak of the second floor.
So I mean, it's complicated, so it's here now, it's just this piece, but here's.
I don't get it.
That's weird. I don't know.
I mean, I would
Like.
like imagine the property owner.
We'd have to, they'd have to. Something.
Right.
And the next meeting is a public hearing, so if you want to make that comment as part of your recommendation, that that's something that should be looked into, that might be
Yeah.
something to consider. This isn't something that necessarily would return to you for any approval. It just is before you because of the variance application.
Pictures.
They are.
That is,
It is. I may not have been able to print everything for you, but there are drawings.
Yeah. Even your.
Yeah, I'll bring board. I'll actually have
No, I-
both sides.
I get it.
Yeah, picture of what you.
I emailed, a lot of, some of the stuff came in after, John, some of the stuff came in after I mailed out the packet, so it was emailed.
Wasn't it like this weekend?
I emailed a lot of things this weekend.
Well, somebody had, yeah, actual pictures that shows the house.
Did you not get my emails?
No, I
I know, I sent a lot of emails because everything kept coming in at the wrong times.
You had to open up all the files.
The existing house?
Yeah, not.
Yeah, I
Dan, actually, you just brought those tonight. There might be something in your packet that I didn't get in
Oh.
the original set.
I'm sorry, you just brought me in it.
Right.
No.
There may be something in that that I didn't. That literally came in at 3:00 today.
That'll be a full foundation. This is my current. Yeah, we're making that.
I see what you're saying.
You guys are not. I'm sure we probably did it.
Friday.
Structures.
I just think about all the
They'll have to introduce me one of these.
So, all right, Mike, we gotta focus on this.
You did get a permit for the roof over the deck.
I did.
Or somebody gave a permit.
Previous code officer.
So they asked.
So it's a
they
big,
got-
took me a little bit down.
They probably did.
So, excuse me, Dan. Are you familiar with the setback issues with the building code?
Yes,
Limitation?
yes,
What does it say?
regarding the 50 feet,
No, the setback up of the lot.
well, it has to have a rated siding. It has to be a rated wall,
Up to what?
So it's the first one.
up to 4 feet, 5 feet,
Right, and we're looking for a 1'10" variance,
right?
so we're going with that.
Well, we can rate the wall. I
Yeah,
mean,
up to 3 feet,
no, I thought it was up to 5 feet.
after 5 feet, I think they're rated up to 30 foot, then you have extensions. So we're really pushing the limit on 1'10", where a soffit would bring you to 8 inches to the lot line.
Oh, I don't have that.
So I don't know what you guys think, 8 inches to a lot line.
Well, what I'm saying is, who owns that property behind them? If he really owns it, she buys that, then she could be compliant.
They couldn't build there anyways, but
No, the
It
property
changes the
that's
lot
behind
line.
it.
It changes.
gives her, it's 75 feet from the back of her property. So I'm saying like, see this, what he has in his tax map?
See, this is her property, there's this lot here.
See, if this was 75 feet.
this is incorporated into this one.
It's a separate lot.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
It was.
This one's separate. And it seems to be, at least according to public records. Owner of this.
Hey, Ben.
same as the owner of that.
That's seeing you.
So what they could do is sell her this.
Yeah.
Big Waller.
Okay. Yeah, so it seems to me like he did to sell it more land if he wanted to do that, because then this is 75 feet. But if it without the land, it'd be awfully hard.
Yes.
Subdivision, aren't you?
Yeah, but you're right, like the roof overhang could be technically.
Put a property line like that.
No, it wouldn't be.
You could hold it, you could
Yeah.
hold it back.
Yeah, it would hold it flush.
Flush.
Yeah.
With the wall.
We could hold it flush with the wall and have a gutter. We'll have to run out.
I don't think that he'd be able to go for it, do you?
I don't know, code officer said no, but that's just for a building permit. That's why we have the variance process.
Now we're gonna get, we do full boards for them, pictures and boards and add color, all that good stuff. I mean, it wouldn't touch, we probably still come out in there 6 inches. So we'd still have, it's, we can still keep it over.
Whatever that is. I think it's making it. Is the language on this based on the overhang of any part of the structure, or is it just based on the foundation?
But we would never encroach over a property line.
Probably you're saying in the end, with an overhang, it's really 8 inches, something like that.
It would be over a foot, but it would be, it's still pretty close.
Wow, totally.
And then, you know, the water and everything else, it has to flow through that property to get to the creek.
They just did new stormwater infrastructure in front of the home.
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand that. I'm around that area all the time. It's not that, you know, these properties in that neighborhood are changing hands pretty quickly these days. So the concern is that the new property owner, who we don't even know who it is,
It's her name's Linda Lee and she owns.
no,
she operates
not
the-
that property, the property behind it,
Oh,
in between the creek and. I mean, if he sells that and the new person comes in and they. You know, they're not agreeable to the encroachment on the property line.
Well, variance would already been granted at that point. Buy it as is. They wouldn't be able to build anything back there.
You would notice them right before this, the zoning board meeting,
Oh, yeah.
and Robert Connors is. they
Well,
would-
that's even the current name. I don't know. From the survey, but
Oh, yeah, 'cause this could be. all these. So you probably, they probably. was right. I guess we-
yeah, so whatever tax maps are adjacent within 300 to 500 feet of property in question will get noticed of the hearing for the zoning board.
So you're saying. For the owners of that. You know that it's the same. Sounds like it's the same.
So for the both sides, I guess. Yeah, one side has sort of narrow transit windows. Two pieces too. And the other side doesn't. It's again, windows on the back. Is there a reason why there's no windows on the sides or?
Doesn't want to look at the neighbors. But if you want to put the lake, or the road, that's much. Yeah. Now. it's
With
the
the word on it,
fireplace
that's
on
what
that
they just
side
provided to us
after.
today. I don't know where this came from.
Okay.
I mean, this was originally what the contractor gave us with the scribbles,
I mean, it's
but then
definitely gonna be
the
improved.
architect was able to
you
get
know.
a complete survey copy.
If, you know, if you say.
Yeah.
And so I
2000.
You know, we can make a
This one,
recommendation.
no, what
This
year
one
this
We
is.
can make a recommendation.
Newer, wasn't it?
And
Yeah.
make a
But
recommendation.
there's no.
What, and I go back and say that.
Maybe this is the one that's
I don't know.
was prepared for part of it.
Like,
Change in
what is the
ownership.
right map that you need to?
Maybe I'd have to, maybe if we can get a help
Those
with
are
him.
stuff.
Yeah, I'm just.
Yeah.
Remember now.
Make
So-
zoning.
No, I could recently realize that until now, I didn't even look at this being different.
What fire? For, in terms of fire rating, like we were talking about just a moment ago. What is the proper distance that you would need from that?
Right, Keith.
Your map.
What? If you had another building next to it, 5 foot here, 5 foot there, you had 10 foot target separation. I think.
Right.
I would figure it.
Because there was a lot of roads that we found out. and it's, but, you know, for us in Champlain.
I was under the assumption that it was conforming. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
porch.
funny that it's not in Syria.
and it wasn't drawn
Yeah.
on survey, which. Well, we caught it, so.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take this from the sidewalk. Sometimes it's-
Are you looking at?
Just go in.
Yeah. Right? Oh. yeah.
it's more- more
Yeah.
current this way.
Yeah.
Which side?
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
To get in touch with Dave Lawler, I have a feeling he may have provided
Yes.
something.
Oh, that was clear. That was from the owner. That was from the owner.
That's clear.
That's mine, the one in red.
No, but look at the.
They all look the same except down here we got stars, down here we got Cedar Bay.
So I don't know where this one came, but that's not my printing.
Yeah,
So we're wondering which survey,
Dean came with, brought it.
and I wonder. if
but he
this
might have
is
gotten
the-
it from Dave Lawler. So the question is, one survey might be newer than the other.
Oh,
We just chopped up.
what's the date on that one?
We don't have.
That was the problem with that copy that we got to begin with. It wasn't complete.
This different, just in case.
I'm wondering if Dean has this. No, she gave me this. She said, I gave you the one with the stamp on it.
But this is old.
09, yeah. But it had everything that I needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
All right, well, let's try to move this.
improvements, obviously, it's just.
It's like someone else.
I'll look into this one.
Yeah.
Do you have? do you
So
have
it's a
the-
recommendation to ZBA and you can incorporate whatever comments, questions, things that you feel need to be addressed.
Okay. I'll make that. Send this to ZBA. And hold on, based on the fact of the existing conditions, as well as the natural landscape and configuration of property lines to the bank, for 5 feet from the rear property line. Off to the side. It's 490.
That's 4.9.
So I'm saying
It's pretty
5 feet,
close.
5 feet from the rear property,
Maybe so.
saying this, I think
Or I guess the house is there.
that is their concern is what's changing.
How are you gonna, you're gonna construct it?
That was the intent.
So Dave Lawler does own that property behind it.
Behind it?
Yeah.
And why the heck doesn't just? Especially doesn't want to buy it, but we just want to sell it.
Probably it just wasn't thought of.
Get through this process.
Wasn't thought of, right.
He has no objection. He said he owns it. He owns the next house over. Then that
Strip.
rear lot behind those two houses extend behind that other house down on the other side of it.
So I made a recommendation based on existing conditions, a natural landscape. For 5 feet from all sides.
Well, 2 sides, right?
Or
Or the addition. 'cause we
When you
can't
say
move
from-
the house.
From rear and side.
North side, there's a fence, and west side.
Of the addition.
So my question is, if it's already 4.8, how do you make it 5?
No, well, we could set, if we didn't build the addition in line, we'd move. it.
Oh, I got it, for the addition. Okay.
So from all,
From the
not
north
necessarily
and
from all
west.
sides, from the north and west side.
And you're,
Oh,
The north side setback and the west rear setback.
and you're considering that. Because it backs up to
I'm only
a
considering
natural
that.
system and not other homes or. But there is a question about potential exclusion of that property that does sit on the western side. It sounds like there's no objection about west.
So, and if we could get some kind of input from.
Lawler,
Sorry.
you seem to know.
Well,
I know.
I'm thinking the people here.
I know.
Having trouble hearing you guys tonight. You're
Yeah.
talking very low.
We'd like feedback.
I don't know.
I understand these text tag, but feedback from that adjacent property, and if you do a public hearing, that's their chance.
At the next meeting, correct?
Yes.
Can I just ask one more clarifying question? I forget. So it's only 4'2" at the top of the building corner up here and 4'9". Near the bottom.
It's not parallel.
Gets a little wider.
It's just typical.
Fine.
Yeah, yours is.
So Scott made the recommendation based on existing conditions and natural topography to allow for the 5 feet from the north side setback and the west/rear setback. Was that seconded?
Second.
Dan, second. Sorry, Catherine. So was everyone in favor of that recommendation?
All those in favor?
I.
All right.
All those opposed?
This is. saying, we're keeping the same house.
So you've made your recommendation. There aren't any other comments that you want sent along to the zoning board? That
Yeah.
recommendation, that statement, that's it all? Huh? I think you did too. Okay, I just want to make sure before you close.
Consider the property owner between the creek and that property, if he doesn't come. But it
You
sounds
want
like
that-
he's selling it,
Do you,
not-
do you want them to be aware of that?
that there is a private parcel between the creek and her lot.
Unbuildable. All right, thank you very much. Appreciate the board's time.
Thanks for working. with me.
Dan, thank you for coming. Sorry, it was sprung on you.
Thanks.
And Dan, I'll email Linda to let her know of the next meeting and
Okay, good.
as well as you. You guys can decide who shows up. All right, so yes, on to the next.
Change it up.
Anybody else have? Joanne, they were all good. I don't remember. Did you send any? You had a couple
I did,
edits.
I
You did
sent them.
early. Okay, yes, they were.
When you sent him, I just read it very quick. And then wait till last minute.
Thank you. I did get them.
Thanks.
Sorry.
Okay.
Would it be possible to have a couple minutes just for some feedback? Informal.
Into 5 minutes.
5 minutes, fine. Okay. I'll leave this with you too. I own property behind the studio. And it was designed for 4 units similar to Schumer's. They took it out of the homeowners association, so it's separate from that. And I own this piece, that part of the parking lot. This is the building that you were talking about before. And the reference sign. I own this piece. And the village owns this piece. This is only 20 feet. I talked to Mr. Olson when he was mayor. And I went to acquire this, it's small, contiguous, and that's not a maintenance issue for the village. You know, I cut that piece, but the one here, you have to cut this. And I'm not looking for an answer tonight, because I'm just giving you kind of some background.
Is that us or no? Those are
No.
the trustees, isn't it?
We'd be maintaining, doing all the strip.
Yeah, you want to-
Thank you.
But I
Mr.
would-
Bant thinks
I
they're
would
selling
maintain it.
property.
This is all underground, of course, go up there, and there's kind of a waterfall,
Yeah.
which is very dangerous, I think. I'd like to rebuild that so that it's not a cliff, so the kids got there and started
Can't
playing.
jump
with
off,
it.
yeah.
That's right, I think it's dangerous. So I'd like to redo that with obviously plans and with village's permission eventually. That would be my goal. The other thing is I'm gonna be 77 years old in January. First, I was gonna build my own house here, put 2 units next to my house. And I looked at the calendar and I said, I don't need a big house anymore. And I do want to live east. And I was thinking, if I did a luxury apartments, would that be something that the village would consider? Again, I'm not looking for an answer, but before I go through a lot of architectural costs and planning costs, I'd like to know if that's even something you would consider. And keep this too. This is, again, the dance studio. This is where I was gonna build my house. And this is where I was gonna put 2 townhouses. And these, of course, are all apartments here. That's some apartments up there. So if I put in not garden, I'm talking about luxury. $3,000 to $4,000 a month. Luxury apartments. You can't get them around here. I can't tell you how many people are ready to retire in Eastern. I own Waterford Woods also. Half the people in Waterford, they've been there for 15 to 18 years. Their kids are gone. They've got these mansions. They want to stay east. They don't want to pay the taxes anymore. There's no place to go. So I'd like to provide some place for them to go. And I still own 18 acres in Waterford, and I want to do some luxury apartments there also eventually. So that people don't move south and take their tax dollars with them. So that's kind of what I was gonna do on a mini right here. I still.
Would they be one floor?
This drops off about three levels. You think drops 20 feet, 30 feet?
Original designs.
Yeah, so it would probably be 2 floors above. And I'd like to put underground parking. So that you come down, I don't want to see a lot of cars. So I'd like to put underground parking in this area, but I think you'd still have like a walkout basement. Ground level, maybe 1 level above. So from this side, it would look like 2 levels.
So are you thinking you would also be able to access it in here?
No.
No.
I said,
This is not parking.
No. You'll
But
probably
you own
use
some of
a
it.
little bit of parking here. But I'd like to put a ramp down there and go underneath,
Oh.
and park underneath these buildings.
This is something that you had proposed informally a few years back, was it not?
Yeah, it was pre.
But you never actually
think
had
I
any
got it.
plans yet.
No.
But I don't think you ever came back with any actual plans of,
I did,
okay,
because everything stopped when COVID hit and
yeah.
we went on to different things.
You own this house?
So-
I do not.
So how much of this, how much of this do?
You know, right to the wall. There's a wall there.
Oh, there's a wall. Yeah, I see the wall. Change there.
And actually the parking was right up against the wall.
Yeah.
So I own. to
Oh,
there.
okay.
So we'd have to look to see what it's zoned for.
That was, there was,
It was industrial.
No, but it's,
It's been changed.
Yeah, then it
the,
went to.
the properties you purchased in Mill Street are part of the planned residential development.
Yep.
So they have certain, right, setbacks and requirements as part of that zone.
And I think I can maintain that. I just would like to turn it into, instead of 4 sale units, I'd like to turn it into luxury rental, and I'm gonna rent it. That's gonna be my.
They'd have, I don't know if one person owns them, they can rent them out.
Ignore it. I don't know what can you do about it.
There's nothing you can do.
Somebody else
Thank you.
put a bigger price there. Sure.
So if I may direct Mr. Campolino to talk to trustee Matt as far as the property swap, more or less, that you're proposing, that would be up to the Board of Trustees, not the planning board. So that's, you know, a separate,
And I knew that.
okay,
I just wanted to tell him what my ultimate goal was, that I already started talking to Mike about and the mayor, when he was the mayor.
we'll need to talk to the,
Receptive.
so now we'll just need to revisit it with the current board.
In fact, when I told him that when I told him I owned the property, he didn't believe me. And he checked it out and he says, yes, you do.
Thank you for the hands on the list. That's okay to me.
You can keep this and the other good ones. Yep. Make copies. I got this. You want to leave as a reference for the other person too.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So I can kind of tiptoe forward and maybe first talk to
I,
this gentleman.
We
Yeah.
appreciate the heads up.
I would talk to Mike Jones again to come up with a plan of what would work before, and then you can return formally to the board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did Scott, you made a motion? Does anyone second it? All in favor?
Congratulations.